In England. It's a beautiful sunny day here today. The temperature is just perfect and we should be in for a great game of cricket. And you had a look at the pitch a little earlier, Jim. How was it?
Thanks, Richie. This pitch is perfect for batting. Hard and true. The ball should come onto the bat perfectly and enable the batsmen to really go for their shots. It could be a long match for the bowlers. I choose to bat. Well, that's the state of the pitch. Back to you, Richie.
Donald is the opening bowler for South Africa. No wicket for one. Donald to Klusener. That's run away for four. That's the first boundary for Klusener. England have taken their total on to no wicket for seven. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. Donald to bowl to Klusener. Stopped by Kirsten. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's 11 off the over now. The bowler really needs to keep it tighter. Over the top and away for four. Just over pitched by Donald.
It was a good shot, but the bowler shouldn't be bowling at him.
No wicket for 15. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. Goodness me, that's 16 off the over now. I think he was easily back in the crease there. .49 over to left for England. So they need to win from 300 balls. It's straight at the guard. taking that total on to no wicket for 5. Two 8-7 runs wide. There, it might just done too much. Spot on, line and length.
Hold that line just outside the off stump, and the batsman is uncertain whether to play or leave it alone.
Hit straight to a fielder.
The fielding restrictions provide the opportunity for attacking batsmen to score some fast, early runs.
The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. One of the great differences between the modern day game and years gone past lies in equipment. Don Bradman used to use a bat weighing 2.2, perhaps 2.3 at its heaviest. Graham Gooch, 3 pounds. Clive Lloyd, 3.2 with 4 rubber grips on it. And then there's helmets. Everyone wears them these days, and sometimes a cricketer will come through all the age competitions, get into Sheffield Shield and play Test cricket, never having batted without a helmet. He's really given that a whack. 6 runs. That was 6 all the way.
Well, he just picked that right off his nose and smashed it over the boundary. Thrilling to watch.
Hit straight at golf. Just a kitten's whisker away from the stumps. Caddick to bowl to Gibbs. Well taken by Stewart. So they need 281 to win from 289 balls. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. There's a mix-up with the batsman.
South Africa will be looking to take full advantage of the early fielding restrictions by scoring some quick runs.
Gibbs facing. The run rate stands at just under 5.5 and over. Hit straight at Caddick. They have 48 overs to get 280. Goff to Gibbs. So they need 279 to win from 285 balls. I think he was easily back in the crease there. No wicket for 14. The fielder's appeal, but he was quite comfortably home. 47 overs are left for South Africa.
The fielding restrictions provide the opportunity for attacking batsmen to score some fast early runs.
The required run rate has crept up to around 5.5 and over. Hit straight at Goff. That was an athletic stop by the keeper.
South Africa have made a slow start, so they need to pick up the pace if they're to get close to their target.
Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Those are the first runs for Preston. They have 46 overs to get. 277. Goff to Gibbs. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Direct hit would have got him. South Africa have taken their total on to no wicket for 16. Goff at the start of his run-up. That's too short. 4 runs. That's the first boundary for Preston. Preston facing. Goff at the start of his run-up. There it goes. He picked that right off his visor.
Well, that was just a long hop and it got the full treatment.
This over is proving rather costly to England. That bouncer gave the batsman plenty to think about. That's the end of the 5th over. Gibbs facing. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. That was very close to the stumps.
He's got nothing to show for some pretty good bowling.
The score is now no wicket for 25. Preston moves into double figures with those runs. So they need 266 to win from 265 balls. There it goes. That takes him into double figures. Goff to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. Hit straight to a fielder. Kirsten waiting at the striker's end. He's got it into the gap. The batsmen are looking for two. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. You'd beaten all ends up by that one. Hit straight at Triscothic. A very good over. Only two off it in the end. Caddick to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Caddick continues. Kirsten waiting at the striker's end. Fielding in modern cricket is outstanding, and that's due to the fact that if you're not a brilliant fielder in limited overs matches, you simply don't get a Guernsey in the national team. There have always been great fieldsmen in every era. For me, Neil Harvey remains one of the best all-round fielders I've ever seen. That is an excellent catch.
A slight fumble, but safely taken in the end.
Kirsten goes for 12. The next batsman is Hullis. Caddick takes the first wicket of the innings. .259 runs required. Hit straight to a fielder. 42 overs are left for South Africa. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Goff to Cullis. Those are the first runs for Cullis. South Africa have taken their total on to 1 for 35. Goff to bowl to Gibbs. Gibbs is now on strike. Pushed into the gap. Goff to bowl to Cullis. Pushed into the gap. Hit straight at Caddick. 41 overs are left in the innings. Caddick to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. 1 for 37. Caddick at the start of his run-up. One for 38. He's worked that into the gap. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Cullis facing. Pushed into the gap. So they need 5-2 to win from 2-4-1 balls. That's the end of the 10th over. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Waiting. Stopped by Caddick. Goff to Cullis. And 6. He smashed that a long way. Caddick to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Goff reaches it before it crosses the boundary. There's a mix-up with the batsman. The total is now 1 for 48. Caddick at the start of his run-up. That's straight up in the air. Gibbs Has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. A cracking stroke. He watched that onto the bat perfectly.
That came right out of the meat. Excellent shot.
1 for 57. Straight up in the air. Shot by him.
He hit that over the field superbly.
It was an athletic stop by 15. The run to have picked up from that over by Andy Caddick. The required run rate is around 6 and over. South Africa, 1 for 61. So that 83-1 win roll 2-6 forward. Thomas, they found her perfectly. Thomas waiting at the striker's end. He's working that in gap. That's too short. And that was a really confident shot.
That came right out of the meat. Excellent shot.
Here comes the change in bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Giles to bowl to Cullis. Cullis waiting at the striker's end. Giles to Cullis. Two to 6 runs required. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Super wicket keeping. It's in the air and safe. There's a nice bit of timing.
Really good shot there. Nicely timed and picked the gap perfectly.
South Africa, 1 for 70. Goff continues. Cullis waiting at the striker's end. Two to 1 runs required. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Hussain. There should be some runs here. There's a mix-up with the batsman. They can't afford to go throwing away wickets. Didn't quite get hold of that one properly. Cullis moves into double figures with those runs. Giles at the start of his run-up. Giles to Gibbs. That's gone high in the air. 34 overs are left for South Africa. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by White. 1 for 74. Goff at the start of his run-up. Length quickly with that one.
Well, he won't have pleased his skipper with that delivery. He needs to keep it tight.
Goff continues. So they need 214 to win from 200 balls. Goff to bowl to Gibbs. It's high in the air. Picked up very early by Gibbs.
He picked his spot well there, a glorious bound.
So there was 8 off that over. Giles to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Flintoff out at long on. They have 33 overs to get 210. Cullis is now on strike. Coloured uniforms are worn for one simple reason. When you're using a cricket ball for day-night matches, a red ball would be lost in the clothing. Similarly, a white ball and white uniforms just don't work, as was found in 1977 with World Series cricket. Not a question of whites being better than coloured clothing, it's just common sense. The total is now 1 for 82. steered expertly into the gap. South Africa move on to 83. Giles continues. There should be some runs here. The crowd are giving him an excellent round of applause. There's his half century. There's a mix-up with the batsman.
He's done very well out there, but it's important for the team that he keeps going.
The batsmen will have to run these. The batsmen are coming back for 2. England are about to make a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. They have 32 overs to get to 06. It's high in the air. Gibbs very quickly onto that one.
Lovely shot. It raced away the defence for 4.
South Africa has taken their total on to 1 for 90. It looked as if he was home to me. 1 for 91. It's straight at off. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Giles to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Giles to Gibbs. Gibbs waiting at the striker's end. He's got it into the gap. Gibbs facing. Flintoff out at long off. That's the end of the 20th over. Caddick to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Caddick to Gibbs. It's straight at Hussain. Caddick at the start of his run-up. Beautiful shot. He watched that onto the bat perfectly.
That was a nicely timed shot. You don't need to smash the ball to the boundary every time.
That moves the score into 3 figures for South Africa. Caddick at the start of his run-up. Caddick continues. Comfortably held by Hussain.
Well, he just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Gibbs is finally out for 61. That was a useful innings by Gibbs.
He batted really well out there and provided a vital contribution to the total.
Cullinan is the next man in. Caddick gets his second wicket. South Africa 2 down now for 100. The new batsmen won't face for the time being. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. The score is now 2 for 100. Giles continues. Comfortably taken, no worries.
For those of you watching at home, that's a good example of how to take a catch.
Cullis is finally out for 16. Rhodes awaits his first ball. Rhodes is now on strike. He smashed that one right out of the ground. That came right off the middle of the bat.
The bowler won't like that one little bit.
And with the 6 runs required. Giles to bowl to Rhodes. We use cricket ball day, night chances. Red ball, you lost clothing. Similarly, white uniform just don't work. That was found in 1977 World Series cricket. Not a question white being better than colour clothing. It's just common sense. South Africa move on to 6-6. Must be quite close. The umpire says not out. It really was a very close call.
Yes, Richie, well, I think that actually done too much. Great delivery, but a tough decision by the umpire, but he seemed certain.
They need 6 to win from 68 balls. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Long hop and punish. That's the first boundary for Klusener. Three now for 111. He's worked that into the gap. Caddick is back in the attack. Caddick has got him. That was a superb delivery.
Too late now, it went straight through the gate.
Cullinan goes for only 5.
That's a long walk back when you haven't scored many runs.
Klusener comes in at number 6. Caddick gets his 3rd wicket. South Africa are 4 down now for 112. Stopped by White. 27 overs are left in the innings. Giles to bowl to Rhodes. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Played into the gap. Flintoff out at long on. 4 for 113. The qualities of a great batsman are best shown these days by watching Sachin Tendulkar. He has the ability to play very straight in defence of back and front foot, and he has close to perfect footwork. Add to that a wonderful range of strokes, and you have a great entertainer, as well as someone who is brilliant technically. So they need 179 to win from 159 balls. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. South Africa move on to 114. Giles to bowl to Rhodes. There it goes. "26 overs are left in the innings. Rhodes waiting at the striker's end. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. Rhodes moves into double figures with those runs. He's got it into the gap. Stopped by White. That's straight up in the air. Giles out at long off. That's the halfway mark, 25 overs. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. There it goes. That's the first boundary for Rhodes. That's superb bowling from Giles.
That's good bowling. Get him on the front foot and make him play.
Rhodes is now facing. A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. Klusener is now on strike. It's high in the air. That's the first boundary for Klusener. 9 runs came from that over by Giles. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. There should be some runs here. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. There's a mix-up with the batsman. He looked as if he was home to me. Rhodes has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. The score is now 4 for 131. Super wicket keeping. South Africa have taken their total on to 4 for 132. Goff at the start of his run-up. It's high in the air. The score is now 4 for 133. Klusener facing. South Africa move on to 134. Three overs are left in the innings. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Comfortably taken, no worries.
Well taken. He never looked like dropping.
Rhodes is making his way back to the pavilion.
His team really needed more from him, so it's not good batting to get out now.
Pollock comes in at number 7. Giles gets his second wicket. South Africa are 5 down now for 135. South Africa move on to 135. That's run away for 4. That's the first boundary for Pollock. He's worked that into the gap. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. It's straight at Thorpe. And we have a change of bowling. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He's going to have to move here. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Klusener moves into double figures with those runs. That's straight up in the air. He timed that to perfection.
Thanks very much. 4 runs. The bowler really needs to keep the ball up on this pitch.
So they need 145 to win from 130 balls. .145 runs required. There it goes. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
That's not the right line to bowl to this batsman. He'll punish anything there.
Klusener is now on strike. .140 runs required. Played into the gap. .21 overs are left for South Africa. Giles to Pollock. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. They have 21 overs to get, 138. Giles at the start of his run-up. It's in the air. Klusener has now moved into the 20s. The total is now 5 for 158. Giles continues. That's gone high in the air. Giles won't like that at all.
Well, you can't set fields for shots like that. That's brilliant.
5 for 164. Giles is back in the attack. The total is now 5 for 165. Klusener is now facing. It's in the air. That was a mighty hit.
That's a demoralising sight for any bowler, seeing the ball sail over the fence.
121 runs required. That's the end of the 30th over. Hoggard to Pollock. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. Six.
What an effortless shot. Brilliant.
South Africa have taken their total on to 5 for 178. Gone. Caught.
Well, he just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Klusener is making his way back to the pavilion. That was a useful innings by Klusener.
That's not a good way to get out, and that will be playing on his mind.
Boucher comes in at number 8. Hoggard gets his first wicket. South Africa are 6 down now for 178. Hoggard to bowl to Boucher. That's gone way into the stands. 6 runs. He smashed that a long way.
He hardly seemed to hit it, but it's gone for 6.
13 runs came from that over. Pollock waiting at the striker's end. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. Giles to bowl to Boucher. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. The total is now 6 for 186. Giles to bowl to Pollock. Played into the gap. That takes him into double figures. Batsmen are coming back for 2. Knight reaches it before it crosses the boundary. There's a mix-up with the batsman. South Africa are 6 for 188. Batsmen will have to be more careful now, having got away with that. Pollock is now facing. He's got it into the gap. (18 overs are left in the innings. Hoggard to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 5.5 and over. Stopped by White. Hoggard to bowl to Pollock. Looked as if he was home to me. The total is now 6 for 190. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. That's speeding to the boundary. Boucher moves into double figures with those runs. 6 now for and 94. Hoggard continues. Hoggard at the start of his run-up. It's straight at Hussain. England are about to make a change in the bowling. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. It's high in the air. That clattered into the boards.
What a good placement. No one at home, over the top for 4.
So they need 93 to win from 100 balls. It's straight to a fielder. 93 runs required. South Africa move on to 199. South Africa move on to 200. The batsman will have to run these. Trouble here. 16 overs are left for South Africa. Hoggard to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. He smashed that one right out of the ground.
That's a demoralising sight for any bowler, seeing the ball sail over the fence.
They have 16 overs to get 84. .84 runs required. The score is now 6-9. The batsman will run these. The batsmen are coming back for 2. There's a mix-up with the batsman. The batsman will have to be more careful now, having got away with that. Taken by Stewart. Nice shot by Mac the boundary. At the end of the 55th over, Clintoff to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands just over 5 and over. Moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. 78 runs required. Well taken by Stewart. Clintoff at the start of his run-up. There it goes. Really looks in fine nick today.
Cracking shot. He's in great form.
14 overs are left for South Africa. Hoggard to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 5 and over. Stopped by Hussain. Hoggard at the start of his run-up. The batsman will have to run these. Pollock has now moved into the 20s. Hoggard at the start of his run-up. He's worked that into the gap. That's found the gap in the field. "13 overs are left in the innings. Flintoff to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. They have 13 overs to get 69. Flintoff continues. A long hop and punish. Boucher is looking to punish any short deliveries.
Lovely front foot shot. Head over the ball, wrists in front of the bat as he played through the line.
6 now for 227. Boucher is now facing. Flintoff at the start of his run-up. Pushed into the gap. Partnership for the 7th wicket is now 50. Trouble here. He was struggling there, but somehow he's got away with it. Flintoff continues. It's in the air, but it's 4 runs. A perfectly timed shot for 4.
He loves the ball in that area. Great shot. 4 runs.
That's 11 off the over now. This over is proving to be quite expensive. Flintoff continues. "12 overs are left in the innings. Hoggard to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 4.5 and over. Stopped by White. They have 12 overs to get 60. Hoggard to bowl to Boucher. Superb shot. That really was excellent timing.
He picked that ball up beautifully. The bowler will have to be careful not to put the ball in that area again.
Ooh, that looked quite nasty. That's good bowling. That's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. He's struggling to get back here. I think he was easily back in the crease there. 11 overs are left for South Africa. Flintoff to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 4.5 and over. There it goes. Flintoff to bowl to Boucher. Pushed into the gap. A long hop and punish. He picked the length quickly with that one.
He really needs to concentrate on line and length right now to keep the runs down.
6 now for 244. Flintoff continues. Hit straight at Giles. That's the end of the 40th over. Hoggard to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 4.5 and over. That's run away for 4. Pollock really punishes anything short.
What can I say about that shot? He looks in top form today.
Hoggard to Pollock. Pollock facing. Beautiful shot. Played that with superb timing.
Poor bowling. His captain won't be too happy with him after that delivery.
That's 9 off the over now. The bowler really needs to keep it tighter. Stopped by Hussain. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. 9 overs are left in the innings. Pollock is now facing. Now the run rate stands at just over 3.5 and over. The fielder will cut that off. Great shot by Boucher. This batsman won't miss anything that's short.
Thanks very much. 4 runs. The bowler really needs to keep the ball up on this pitch.
South Africa have taken their total on to 6 for 261. Boucher is now on strike. That's 2 full, and it's been punished. He picked the length quickly with that one.
Cracking shot. The secret there was that he got his feet into position early and had plenty of time to play the shot.
So they need 27 to win from 51 balls. That's 10 off the over now. The bowler really needs to keep it tighter.
Waiting! Wait.
8 overs are left in the innings. Now the run rate stands at just over 3 and over. Hit straight to a fielder. The batsman will have to run these. Stopped in the covers. Hoggard to bowl to Boucher. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. The batsman will have to run these. He's gone over the top with that, and it looks like 4 runs. Just overpitched by Hoggard.
That was a good shot. He saw it early and got into position quickly.
The required run rate is around 2.5 and over. The total is now 6 for 273. Flintoff to bowl to Boucher. It's high in the air. Boucher raises his bat to the crowd to acknowledge the applause. Boucher has reached his 50 from 23 balls.
He's done very well out there, but it's important for the team that he keeps going.
Well taken by Stewart. Flintoff is back in the attack. "12 runs required. Boucher facing. played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Shot. He can enjoy this as he's had to work very hard for it. Pollock has reached his 50 from 48 balls. Pollock waiting at the striker's end. Pitch straight to the fielder. 12 runs came from that over. And we have a change of bowling. The required run rate looks a fairly comfortable 1 and over. South Africa needs 6 runs for victory. Short and smashed for 4. I certainly saw that one early.
Well, he really latched onto that ball quickly and struck a venomous square drive to the cover boundary.
South Africa needs just another 2 runs to win. Nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. South Africa have taken their total on to 6 for 291. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. The batsmen are looking for 2. I think he was easily back in the crease there. South Africa move on to 293. So to sum up then, South Africa win by 4 wickets. Let's take a look at how the innings has gone so far.